He's from your home state of Louisiana, the Speaker of the House. I read today he wrote a foreword in a book that subscribes to conspiracy theories and homophobic insults. I thought, Mike Johnson wrote the foreword to the Bible? Do you think Mike Johnson can hold his party together now that he has taken the mantle?
Well, first of all, I don't think he can hold his party together. Second of all, you're exactly right. Mike Johnson and what he believes is one of the greatest threats we have today to the United States. I promise you, I know these people.
You're talking about Christian nationalism.
Absolutely.
Talking about this
is a bigger threat than Al-Qaeda.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a political firestorm that went down on real time with Bill Maher. Strap in, because this one's intense. In the ever-evolving landscape of American politics, few figures have sparked as much controversy as House Speaker Mike Johnson. While his rise to power may have seemed unlikely to some, Democratic strategist James Carville sees it as anything but harmless. In a fiery exchange on real time with Bill Maher, Carville did not mince words, declaring Johnson's brand of Christian nationalism a fundamental threat to the United States, one that in his view surpasses even the dangers posed by groups like Al-Qaeda. But what makes Johnson so alarming? In this interview with Simi Church, Carville argues that his deeply rooted ideological beliefs go beyond mere conservatism. They challenge the very principles of democracy. With a Supreme Court that increasingly leans in his favor and a movement that is both well-funded and relentless, Carville warns that this is no passing trend. This is a battle for the soul of the nation. As America grapples with shifting political tides, the question remains: is Christian nationalism an existential threat, or is Carville's warning just another partisan alarm?
To this country. And let me tell you something. They're Speaker of the House. They got probably at least 2 Supreme Court justices, maybe more. Right? Don't kid yourself. And people in the press have no idea who this guy is, how he was formed, what the threat is, and this is a fundamental threat to the United States. It is a fundamental. They don't believe in the Constitution. They'll tell you that. Mike Johnson himself says, "What is democracy but 2 wolves and a lamb having lunch?" That's what they really, really, really believe. And to say, "Oh, come on, man, that's just some crazy shit." No. They believe that, and they're coming, and they've been doing it forever. They're funded. They're relentless. And, they probably won't win for a while, but they might. No, and if they do, the whole country blows a gasket.
You just have to look at that painting. I think it's a Kincaid painting that a lot of them like, where Jesus is handing the Constitution to Thomas Jefferson. I mean, if you can look at that and go, that's the way it probably happened.
I know it.
That wasn't a photo?
That is, no.
James Carville didn't hold back when discussing House Speaker Mike Johnson, calling his brand of Christian nationalism one of the greatest threats facing the United States today, one that, in Carville's view, even surpasses groups like Al-Qaeda. His warning wasn't just about Johnson as an individual, but about a growing movement that he believes is well-funded, highly organized, and fundamentally opposed to democracy as traditionally understood. Carville argues that Johnson and his allies aren't just advocating for conservative policies. They're pushing a religious ideology that seeks to reshape American governance, disregarding the Constitution in favor of biblical law. With allies on the Supreme Court and increasing influence in the Republican Party, Carville sees this movement as a direct challenge to the nation's democratic institutions, warning that if left unchecked, it could lead to a radical shift in the country's future. Whether this is a legitimate alarm or political hyperbole, one thing is certain: Christian nationalism is no longer a fringe idea. It's a force that's shaping the conversation at the highest levels of power.
The rise of anti-immigration Dutch politician Geert Wilders. I remember interviewing him for Religulous way back in 2007. A warning to the liberals in America that they need to take our immigration crisis more seriously. So if you don't follow the story, Geert Wilders, he'd been running forever in Holland. Of course, the New York Times calls him a far-rightist. They call all these people, Meloni in Italy is another one. Viktor Orban is kind of a far-rightist in Hungary. But not, I think some of them are just, Brexit in England was part of this. People are feeling they are not welcome almost in their own home because of the kind of immigration that these people are fighting against. So
well, most of these people are not far right by any way that we would think of far right, in that they're racist. I actually met with Orban in Budapest, and I talked to him for a little while, and all he kept saying was, you know, I love Hungary. That's all. I love my people. I love my country. That's it. I don't know what accent that was, but that basically.
That's a dead-on impression of him.
Something.
Can you do his walk?
He kind of, there's a little bit of a waddle. But all of these guys, Geert Wilders, he wants Holland to be for the Dutch, right? Like that's what he wants. When we see, that's racist. That's what they would tell you, right? No. Wait, you meant that literally? Or
No. I'm just, no. I don't know what we're talking about, but I was just going to say, Dutch for the Dutch. I would amend that if it was me. Dutch values.
No, Dutch values.
You don't have to be actually Dutch. You don't have to be white. That's what I think is great about America. It's the idea. As long as you subscribe to our ideas, which again, to your point and what I was saying at the end of the show, that we're not a Christian nation. That's not what it is. This is a country where we have the First Amendment. Then everybody should be welcome.
No, of course, it's not about skin color, but it is about culture. So what happens is all of these people, whether they're in France or Belgium or any of the countries that you just mentioned, they're realizing, wow, we've got literally millions of people in our borders that are chanting for genocide and gas the Jews and the rest of it. And by the way, it doesn't stop with the Jews, right? I mean, they were at the Christmas tree in Times Square yesterday or 2 days ago. So people are realizing that, and they're looking for anybody, and for some reason they always come with crazy hair, that will fix some of this stuff.
The rise of nationalist leaders like Geert Wilders in the Netherlands is not just a political shift. It's a clear and urgent response to mounting public outrage over immigration policies that have spiraled out of control. Across Europe, from Italy's Giorgia Meloni to Hungary's Viktor Orban, a growing wave of leaders is capitalizing on the deep frustrations of citizens who feel their governments have failed them. Yet, Dave Rubin pushes back against the mainstream narrative that brands these figures as far-right extremists. Instead, he argues that they are champions of cultural preservation, standing against policies that have eroded national identity and allowed unchecked migration to create social instability. According to Rubin, their rise is not about racism or xenophobia. It's about citizens demanding that their leaders prioritize the safety, values, and economic stability of their own people. James Carville, however, takes a different stance. He acknowledges the anger but insists the real issue is not immigration itself. It's the overwhelming sense of disorder and government incompetence. He argues that when borders are left open, when communities struggle with integration, and when political leaders refuse to address the chaos, voters naturally turn to those who promise to restore control. The backlash isn't against immigrants, it's against the perception of lawlessness, cultural dilution, and government negligence. And yet the debate remains white-hot. Is the rise of nationalist politics a necessary correction to years of failed policies, or is it a dangerous step toward authoritarianism and division? One thing is undeniable. Europe's political landscape is shifting fast, and the old establishment is struggling to keep up.
So I think your question was, is the election in the Netherlands, is that somewhat
a harbinger for...
Do you want a short, truthful answer?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Okay? It does. Because people, but understand this, people like immigrants, okay? Right. What they don't like is disorder. And when you become the disorder party, whatever it is, you pay a price. Now, one of the reasons that we have in this problem, this is what 3.6% unemployment does for you. You think we're the only people that know that? Or you think, and by the way, if you got a woman that lives in Honduras, and she walks with a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old to the Mexican border and wants to come in this country, come on in, lady. You're a motivated person. We need you. Period.
No, you can't come. We have a border. We have a border. We have a country. You either have a country or you don't.
Every border had refugees. Every border has asylum.
Yeah, but you can't just let them walk in.
Sorry.
That's what the issue is.
I'm for somebody walks with 2 kids 600 miles to come in this country. I got a job for you, lady. Come see me. Find me one roofer in Florida that was born in the United States.
What are your thoughts on this heated debate? Do you think nationalist leaders like Geert Wilders are simply responding to legitimate concerns? Or do you see their rise as a dangerous shift toward extremism? And what about James Carville's take? Do you agree that the real issue is disorder rather than immigration itself? We want to hear from you. No. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the biggest political issues shaping our world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Is